All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get started here on skill number 4, an important skill for AP questions, and that is to basically break down all of the essay questions into their component parts. When we do this, we'll get a better sense of how to answer the question that's being asked, okay? So our goal here with this skill is to identify the different parts of the question in order to best plan our response. There's also some tricks I'll teach you to help you hone your analytical skills, as well as what language to look for when determining which historical reasoning skill the question is targeting. So you'll need to use this skill every time you're given a long essay question or a document-based question. Fortunately, the skill needed to break down each of those types of questions is the same. Each question has 4 parts you need to identify. The first 2 are the stems, or the specific historical events or processes you're supposed to build an argument around. Sometimes these will be 2 specific events, like Bacon's Rebellion or the American Revolution, or they may be an event and a theme, like Bacon's Rebellion and the changing social structure in colonial Chesapeake. You'll also need to determine which historical reasoning skill you're being asked to use in order to connect those 2 stems together. And then finally, every question will have a time frame. So let's break down questions step by step. Step 1 is to figure out the 2 key parts of the question, which I call Part A and Part B, or Stem A and Stem B. They generally appear as 2 parts of a theme, or a theme and a specific historical event or development. Step 2 is to determine what historical reasoning skill the question asks us to connect those stems together. There are 3 reasoning skills that we'll use. One is compare or contrast, one is cause and effect, and the other is continuity or change over time. The key to this step is to find the word or words in the question that tells us which of these skills to use. And then the third step is to determine the time frame the question is covering. This will help us figure out what evidence is best to use to support our argument. So let's get a chance to practice here. Okay, so here's a long essay prompt. Evaluate the extent to which non-English immigration fostered change in the British North American colonies in the period 1660 to 1750. So my first step, remember, is to find the stems. Okay, the first is non-English immigration, and the second is British North American colonies. Those are the 2 things that I am going to be discussing in relation to each other. The second step is the historical thinking skill or reasoning skill, which here is continuity and change. The key word in the question that tells us that is change, right? So now we can ask, what does it mean to evaluate the extent to which basically means all we're going to figure out is, was the change a lot? Was it a little? Did it change in some ways but not others, right? So the extent to which just is giving us kind of a extra guidance there. And then the time frame is 1660 to 1750, okay? So that's when we would focus our evidence in that period. Okay, so now it's your turn to practice. The beautiful part about this skill is that it's not dependent on knowing anything about the question itself. It just matters if you can figure out the components. So I'm going to give you a practice question here, which you may not be able to answer, but you should still be able to break the question down into its 4 parts. So good luck, and I will see you next time.